All right, here's our video today. Odd Triton, the moon of Neptune. And I didn't say Titan, but Triton. And it's the largest moon of Neptune by far. And we'll talk about why that may be the case. And as far as any spaceship going to Triton, Voyager 2 went to Triton in 1989. And they think that Triton may have a liquid ocean, just like Ganymede, just like Europa. And it should have water, right? Since it's the son of Poseidon, son of Neptune. So let's look at some of the things that make Triton odd. Let's get a clean page. And what color should we use? Why don't we use yellow? So for one thing, it's cold. Well, there's a lot of planets that are cold. It is the coldest planet or moon. We'll just say orb. It's the coldest orb in our solar system. It's colder than Pluto in our solar system. It's colder than Maki Maki, another dwarf planet. It's colder than any dwarf planet in the Kuiper Belt. That's one thing we can say. So its temperature, you're looking at negative 391 degrees Fahrenheit average. And if we'll just say Triton over here. Now on Pluto, the average on Pluto gets around negative 375. So it's colder than Pluto and much closer to the sun. So that's kind of odd. So why is it so cold? Why is it so cold? Don't forget our question mark there. Why is it colder than Pluto and Maki Maki? Well, one thing, it does have a nitrogen atmosphere. We should say that there's nitrogen in the atmosphere, but it's so cold that it's frozen on the surface. So it has nitrogen, and it's on the surface. And so what happens is the nitrogen on the surface reflects majority of the sunlight that does hit it. So that's why it's very cold. So that's odd that it's closer than Pluto, closer than Maki Maki, and yet it's colder than those. And it's the coldest orb, the coldest planet. If it was planet or moon, it's the coldest out there. So that's one thing. And if we think about distances, so let's just throw Maki Maki in here. Some people have been calling it Make Make, but it's Maki Maki from a Polynesian god. So Maki Maki in itself is about close to 4.5, well, less than that, but about 4.5 billion miles away from the sun, where Pluto is about 3.7 billion, and Triton is 2.8 billion. So much closer, but much colder. So you don't usually see that. All right, let's clear that out. Go back if you need to. The second thing about Maki Maki, well, not Maki Maki, have Maki Maki on my mind. The next thing about Triton, maybe we'll change the pen to red, is that it has a weird orbit. It has a retrograde orbit. In other words, it's going the opposite direction where it should. It's the only orb to do that. So if you think about Earth, let's say that's Earth, and Earth is going this way, and our moon will do the same thing. It'll orbit the Earth the same direction that the Earth is moving. But if you think of Neptune here, big N for Neptune, so as Neptune goes that way, guess what? Triton's deciding to go the other way. So its orbit is opposite the orbit of its planet. Has a retrograde orbit, and no other a moon does that. So that's something odd about Triton. All right, let's go back to the picture of Triton. Here's a comparison with Pluto. The picture doesn't really give it justice. I mean, Triton and Pluto are almost the same size. Triton's a little bigger than Pluto. And there's another dwarf planet out there, Eris, that may be a little bigger than Pluto or the same size. So for one thing, Triton, as I said earlier, is much bigger than any other of the 14 moons of Neptune. Some people say 13. And why? They think that Triton was captured a long time ago. and it was once a dwarf planet in the Kuiper Belt. And for some reason, it was captured by Neptune. So, in a sense, we can say that Triton is the former king of the dwarf planets because it would have been bigger than Pluto. And like I said before, it is by far the largest moon of the Neptunian system. All right, that's our video today on Triton. Oh, and by the way, this is what an artist rendition of what Neptune would look like from the surface of Triton. And by the way, the last thing is Triton's orbit is nearly circular. It's almost a perfect circle. You don't see that much. All right.